Global
Cash
community,
Global
what's
TV
the deal? What's
subscribe.
the deal? Today I got another non-biased, non-mainstream TikTok compilations that's gonna have you questioning reality, disassociating from that indoctrination the system tried to give us all our life, and thinking a little clearer. We in this together. One person will never know everything, but as a collective, we gonna figure everything out. We'll have a conversation in the comments about it. Nobody's wrong. We all got our own ideologies. Now let's get to what we came here
Cash
for.
Global TV subscribe.
Aliens.gov.
I don't know anything about the president's deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's going to happen. I hope they don't get to him and make him pull back. So that's what's happened in the past. That's what's happened with every report that they've had. They said they're going to bring it out, and then they don't. And then I talked to the president about it. I hope we get an answer.
Do you think, have you gotten signs from the administration of the president that we're going to get
The
disclosure?
president says he's going to put it out, so he hasn't lied to me.
You know that I got bit by a king cobra, and after 5 days of agonizing pain, the cobra died.
Scientists are warning tomorrow and for the next few months, days will be shorter than ever, some of the shortest in history, because the Earth is spinning a lot faster than usual, and said.
The data show that today Earth is rotating a little bit faster than yesterday or tomorrow. How much is a little? Like a fraction of a millisecond? I don't think you're going to notice it. I'm just saying. There's a dozen ways Earth's rotation rate can be influenced. Tides are a big force from the sun and the moon. Earthquakes are changing where the mass is on Earth's surface. Melting ice caps, water flowing off of land into the ocean, changes where the mass is on Earth. All of this has an effect on Earth's rotation. At any given moment, Earth can speed up or slow down. You know how we know that? Use atomic clocks. They keep better time than the rotating Earth itself. Most of this, throughout the last 50 years, has increased the length of the day. We toss in a leap second to accommodate it. If it shortens the length of the day, we have the power to take away a second, a negative leap second. So at any given moment, we might not know exactly what is causing it, but it would be drawn from our portfolio of physics that tells us what's happening, which means it's possible to not know the cause of something, but to simultaneously know it's not mysterious.
Neil deGrasse, you know I'm very critical of you, and all I got from that is time is a man-made construct. What is a leap second? You have the ability and the power. Who is we? And how did y'all get into control? Don't know. That's a little nefarious in my opinion. So I don't think I'm going to base my time and inner clock off of yours. You base yours on how you feel. I don't base mine on mine. We're going to have a difference of opinion. It is what it is.
Are actually doing it. Today, they have officially begun blowing up all roads and railways connecting them to South Korea. And this really marks a pretty substantial turning point, because for the longest time, reunification of the two countries has always been the stated goal for Kim Jong-un. But this year, everything changed. He changed the constitution to designate them as principal enemy. They obviously had their trash balloon wars. We saw that they started building a wall by the border, and now they're literally blowing up all inter-Korean roads and railways to completely separate the two countries. Saudi Arabia has just said that the groundwork for what would become the largest structure on Earth is now 86% complete. Now, not only would it be large enough to fit 20 Empire State Buildings inside, but similar to the Las Vegas Sphere, in its center will be this spiral-shaped tower encased by a VR dome that essentially could create anything your mind could imagine, whether that be on Mars, under the ocean, balcony views of Pandora, and even whatever the hell these things.
Epstein files, there was something released that it was called V2K, which is like voices to head or whatever. Essentially, they were saying that like a lot of the victims, to kind of like make them go crazy or make them start looking like they can't testify or whatever, they would put this technology on them where essentially they would start hearing voices in their head. So when they're explaining to people what's going on, people immediately dismiss them as this person's crazy. They're not. In reality, they're a victim, and that was actually going on. That came out in the file. So it's like stuff that the government could probably do to people, like witnesses, to anyone who they really want to shut up, are so far beyond what we could even imagine.
So I'm gonna have to speak real carefully on this one and articulate my words correctly. So remember the black guy who poked the white lady on the subway or on the bus? He said he heard voices in his head that told him to do it. another person around the area had a similar situation and did the same thing? How many times in history has somebody said they've gotten a message or voice in their head that sounds extremely synonymous to that, and then they go out and do something? Is there more to it, or is that what we call a coincidence?
Never was a part of the Boule Secret Society until he came back from that mess in Colorado. They couldn't control him. See, if they can't control you, they will set you up to be blackmailed. So Dr. Jerry Buss, God rest his soul, sent Colby to Eagle, Colorado to get his knee worked on as if there's no knee doctors here in Los Angeles County.
Now, from what I heard, Kobe, after they traded Shaq, traded Nick, got rid of everybody, he wanted to leave.
Yes.
And so when he said,
no.
You, after I did all this, you want to leave?
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, go get your knee fixed first. So that was the cold move right there. I heard about that gangster move. Yeah.
Oh, you see, and people like Kobe did not have the Holy Spirit. Yeah. Thereby, they did not have discernment, you see. And so Kobe Bryant sent to Eagle, Colorado. Okay, Dr. Richard Stedman was Kobe's knee doctor. Dr. Richard Stedman was a member of Phi Beta Kappa, which is the educational and the legal arm of Deep State. Well, Kappa Beta Phi is the Wall Street faction. So Dr. Richard Stedman was Phi Beta Kappa. Told Kobe, listen, you don't need to stay near my office. You can go to Edwards, Colorado. That makes no sense. That's miles away. Setting him up.
The one source creator divides itself into the many for the joy of observing itself through our unique eyes of perspective. And why is that? Well, because an eye can't see itself without the aid of a mirror. If a fire can't burn itself, a knife can't cut itself. Likewise, consciousness cannot perceive itself without dividing itself into the mirrors that we are. It's experiencing the concepts of limitation from the construct of being immortal and being eternal. You can't ever, an omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent being cannot experience limitation. And so it comes here through us in order to experience the concept of limitation. What's it like to ask a question that I don't already know the answer to? What's it like to experience a lover's gaze for the first time and not know if it's going to be there tomorrow or not? Because if we're playing chess and it becomes clear that I'm already going to beat you in 7 moves and I've got you checkmate, we stop playing now. There's no point in continuing the game. It's no fun. So we have to come here to have forgetfulness so that we can experience what it's like to remember. And as we remember who we are, then we start to put all the puzzle pieces together and start to see how all the dots actually do connect in our life. But it takes a while for us to get to that point. And you've got to go through the stages of the crisis. You've got to go through the loss of the mentor. You've got to go through the 17 stages that are, very well articulated.
Buried 120,000 tons of nuclear waste under a concrete dome on a tiny Pacific island, and it is officially cracking open. This is obviously insane, but between 1946 and 1958, the United States detonated 67 nuclear bombs across the Marshall Islands. Some of them were actually 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima, and everybody should know how big that one was. Whenever they were done, they sent soldiers to scrape radioactive soil, debris, and plutonium off of 6 different islands, and then they dumped it all into one spot in a crater on a Tily Island. They then thought that it was a brilliant idea to seal it with an 18-inch concrete cap, and locals literally called this area the Tomb. And now, almost 50 years later, visible cracks are spreading across the surface. So, do we sense a problem here? The island sits just 6 feet above sea level, and scientists are saying that it'll be partially underwater by the end of the century. So it's problem after problem after problem after problem. And the actual material that's inside the crater is plutonium-239. It stays radioactive for 24,000 years. A nuclear engineer said that no concrete structure on Earth could survive even a small fraction of that, and people still live 20 miles away and fish in that lagoon. And somehow, the moral of this entire story is, the US says that it is not their problem anymore.
Yeah, everyone's freaking out about oil prices, but there's something way worse going on. I don't know if you know this, but the desert doesn't have water. Dubai, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait. But Jasmine, there's tens of millions of people living in these places. How do they live there if they ain't got no water? Desalination plants. That's how. These are giant factories, and there's over 400 of them in the Gulf, just taking the salt out of salt water for drinking water. These places don't have rivers, lakes, rain, okay? So they rely on these desalination plants. Water is actually way more important than oil in this region. Imagine that. More important than oil, That sounds foreign to these American ears. Do you remember last week when I told you about the Strait of Hormuz and how that shut down and all those tankers can't pass through with their oil? And how there's hundreds of vessels still chilling there in the Persian Gulf?
Revealed that Jeffrey Epstein and Palm Beach Pete actually lived in the same areas at the exact same time. So when Jeffrey Epstein was living in New York, so was Palm Beach Pete. And then when Jeffrey Epstein was living in Florida, so was Palm Beach Pete. And when this was brought up, Palm Beach Pete was literally trying to shush the interviewers. And then finally, every single day now, Palm Beach Pete is uploading videos onto social media saying that he is not Jeffrey Epstein. And in a lot of these videos, a lot of people feel like he's actually trying to gaslight us because he really is actually Jeffrey Epstein.
How y'all feel about the fact that these days you can get fame, notoriety, income, wealth from looking like a diabolical, nefarious, disgusting individual that they say is unalived? I have no doubt that Palmdale Pete is not J.E. Is J.E. still out there? J. Epi? For sure. He's somewhere out there.
It makes no difference where I am. In fact, I'm still talking to the same person if I was at my home in Palm Beach. But I'm here in jail.
Home in Palm Beach.
I can dial my own phone.
That's bullshit. No, but you can also make 1,000 phone calls. Here you got to make one, and he's got to take.
Think how much better that was. I had to decide who was the right person to call. That was unusual for me, because I would have called 20 people.
And
before.
what was the advice you gave him?
I said, you have a sick patient, and it's very much like a sick patient in the emergency room. You can't think about it like your car. People in normal walks of life think about money and things as a machine. And unfortunately, so if your car breaks, cars are always easy to fix. My jets, my cars, if it breaks, I know it can be fixed because it simply follows the same pattern. If this part breaks, you replace the part and the thing works again. People and the financial system are not machines. They can't be fixed the same way. You can't simply take out put some more juice into the commercial paper market, and that's like replacing the carburetor on the car. It's much more, I have a patient who can't breathe, has a stomach problem, can't see, looks bleeding at the same time. What do I do first? I have to think about it as a system. Where's the most logical place? What's the most dangerous place? If your heart stopped, we have to start your heart again. In the equivalent to the money market, why do I have to start your heart again? I need to get your blood flowing. If your blood stops, you're dead. If liquidity, which is the equivalent of blood in the financial system, dries up.
Once liquidity is basically cash, putting cash into the
system. Forget about what it is.
Okay.
Liquidity is liquidity. It allows the system, it's the blood of the system. You need to pump blood hard into the body of the economy.
I hope y'all be smart enough to know my character and know my intellect well enough to know this is no support or no pat in the back of this man. But as I said, sometimes you have to forget about who's communicating it and listen to what's being communicated. There was some jewels being dropped right there. The man obviously was around a lot of knowledge, eugenics, other things, anything under the sun. So obviously, his cerebrum goes very deep. So nobody can deny that. It is what it is. Did he do some nefarious, disgusting, unforgivable things? Of course. That doesn't take his knowledge away.
Look at robots that are too lifelike, or anything that looks or acts human, but there's something off about them. This concept was introduced in the 70s by a professor at the Tokyo Institute of Technology named Masahiro Mori. He coined the term Uncanny Valley to describe his observation that as robots appear more human-like, they become more appealing, but only to a certain point. Let me know in the comments if you experience this.
Wide open.
God is sound.
Uber bets $1.25 billion on Rivian's R2 robotaxi. Uber committed $1.25 billion to purchase 10,000 fully autonomous Rivian R2 robotaxis, with an option for up to 40,000 more. The R2s will launch exclusively on Uber's platform in San Francisco and Miami in 2028, scaling to 25 cities by 2031. Uber's investment will extend through 2031, subject to the achievement of certain autonomous milestones by specific dates. Rivian's third-generation autonomy platform features 11 cameras, 5 radars, and 1 LiDAR.
Keep in mind, if this isn't the clearest video in the world, it's being filmed at over a mile and away, probably close to a mile and a half away, and in pitch dark conditions. Like there's no lights. They killed all the lights on the runway. They really didn't want this to be filmed. But I've got my PVS-14 night vision device here, and I have that stacked with my spotting scope. And yeah, hopefully this is going to come out cool. I can make out the vague shape of the craft. I can see the nose, and it looks like 2 vertical fins. I think the aircraft is upside down. They're spinning it around too. So
3 United States presidents that were all born the same exact summer. You know what's even more interesting is how close together that they were born. Donald Trump and George Bush, they were born just 22 days apart. George Bush and Bill Clinton, they were born just 44 days apart. And then when you look at Trump to Clinton, they were born 66 days apart. That's 22, 44, 66. 3 future presidents, all perfectly spaced. What are the odds of that? The same generation, the same window of time, the same path to power in life, in the same country. Now here's where it gets even more interesting. Because just the summer before they were born in 1946, there are documented experiments that were happening in the United States. And some people still question that today. Some believe that those have some spiritual significance. And others say that it's just coincidence and nothing more. But when you see a pattern like this, it makes you pause.
Global Mafia, let me know how y'all feel about it. We can all have a different ideology, but coincidences don't exist. Presidents are selected, not elected. I don't partake in the political Hollywood, the theater. Not knocking anybody who does, left wing, right wing, same bird. But you know, that's entertainment purposes only. What do I know?
Well, isn't this ironic? Isn't this supposed to be the Monopoly man with the monocle? Yeah. He has a monocle. I told you.
Study the elites. I've always said this, man. The J World Order is really easy to get behind. It's like, it's low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
Again, going back, low-hanging fruit.
Right.
But when you study these people, they give you the symbol. You can see the symbols. You know, when you're watching John Lennon on some MTV thing with a chick and she's like, bang, right? You're like, oh, what the f is that? What the f is that?
I'm going to share some super weird facts about Antarctica. Let's get into it. For starters, no one actually owns Antarctica. That's mainly because in December 1st of 1959, 50 different parties signed the Antarctic Treaty. In this treaty, it also prohibits the disposal of any radioactive waste or nuclear testing. Another super interesting fact is that they have a doomsday seed vault here in Antarctica that pretty much has any seed you could think of to keep a civilization alive. I mean, it's good to be prepared, but this kind of makes you worry a little bit. Like, why are we that prepared? Why do we have so many seeds, and why in Antarctica?
Never forget, one person will never know everything. As a collective, we're going to figure it all out. We're going to end the compilation right there. Let me know how y'all was feeling about it. What do y'all align with? What was left field that you don't think is true? We're going to keep going down this journey, getting this information. They call them rabbit holes. I call it just getting rid of that indoctrination the system gave us and finally getting back to what really happened in the ancient civilizations, the people who walked this land prior to us. Simple, that's all. I'm gonna keep dropping these one a day for y'all. Over appreciate the support. You know I'm your humble host, Cash, capital K, $ for the S. And this is Cash Global TV.
fortress. My swag and drip, it make these whores sick. This shit come effortless. Why you sweating hoes tryna force it? This new Louis drip from this season. I pull up yoking, serving, doing hella shit in the latest Beamer. Plenty garbage bags full of LCGs. Nigga, please, I've been jumping flights since 2013. Moving boxes, making plays, I gotta fill these orders. Load them 18-wheelers up, then get them cross the border. Matter of fact, here go my runner right now. I got your ticket, take this bag, I'ma drop you off and then you out. We out.